Hi, fellow traders. I'm back with my recap for today. It's a little bit late. Our men's basketball team had senior night tonight, just like the women did the other week. And I didn't intend on doing a recap, but there was a good lesson today, and a good lesson for me. And I couldn't not share it. So I want to quickly go through and share what happened today. And really, it's just reiterating something that I've talked about in the past. And, about filtering out the noise. And that's what I had to do today. So we'll jump right in here. And LOW was my main watch. I had a watch list of 3 or 4 stocks, all of them pretty much set up. But what I like is to pick one stock, the one that I feel gives me the best opportunity, and I focus on it. And yeah, there's gonna be a day or two where it doesn't work out, but the 2 or 3 days that it does work out far makes up for the days that it doesn't. But there's one thing here that you can't do is you can't force your will on the market. Now, no matter how good you think a setup looks, it doesn't matter. You just can't force your will on the market. So here, low was gapping down, just like I like it. We look for these stocks to gap down, and at the open, we'll get a push up with profit taking, and then we start to sell off, and we come in, and I like to fade this all day long, trade it to the downside. And that's what I saw on this. I'm like, look, even if it runs up here to 91, it runs up into this level and the 90 day here, or this is actually the 100 day, we would be in good shape for a short. It's going to reject here, and I'll be able to fade it the rest of the day. Just like on W last week, and if you go back and watch my weekly recap, there's 3 or 4 examples just like this that I traded in the last week. Big gap down, we get the profit taking. It runs up into some resistance in the first 5 or 10 minutes. Then we get the sell off for the rest of the day. That's where these big money trades that I made, came from. And that's what I was looking for today in this. Well, we opened. We had this, what we can call a spinning top, or whatever you want to call it. But we had this candle where we had, a nice wick to the upside, a nice wick to the downside. Just shows some, it just shows some indecision. So we didn't really run up to 91 on the first candle, but we did, go up. I thought we were getting some profit taken here. Then this candle opened here, and we started to sell off. So, of course, I'm looking for this to do what all of the other stocks have done. So, forget me waiting for the setup to happen, the opening range breakdown, which is the strategy of the setup that I trade. Here I am anticipating that this is just going to break down. So I get in, and I turn around and get stopped out. And yeah, I let this go a little bit too far. But, I really felt that it was going to come back based on what's happened in the past. So here, instead of me reading and understanding what the chart is telling me, I'm doing what I want the market to do. So I'm trying to impose my will on the market. And if you do that, you will lose. And I did lose. And then to make things worse, I actually got short again and got stopped out. So by 9:47, within 20 minutes of the market open, I was down over $1,000 in the hole. So at that point, I had to stop. And I had to filter out all of the noise. I had to check out a chat. I had to just get out of the whole thing and reassess what I was doing. And that's when I realized what happened here. Why I was forcing my will on the market. I saw the gap down. I was looking for it to do the same thing. And it had been working so much that I forgot the main, one of the main rules I have is you got to wait for the setup to happen. Because just because it looks like it's going to do something doesn't mean it's going to react the same every time. And I kind of forgot that, because what happens, you start doing so good and it's working every time, you kind of forget about it. And that's kind of what I did here. So, and some people in chat got the lesson, some people didn't. When you check out, I'm not hiding from anybody. I'm not running from anybody, because I was still there. I had to check out, and it was just me and my small portable station, looking at one stock, looking at one chart. And I said, okay, now, let's do what we got to do. So I waited, and here was the rejection here on the daily. That's not the right one. Hold on. We were rejecting up here. So I'm like, this is where you would short. And that's when I went short here. I held it, got it as we came through the 9. And then we started to recover a little bit, so I took it off. When we went up and started showing more weakness, I went ahead and got short again and covered some right here around VWAP. And then when we started to recover, I went ahead and took it off again. So here I felt like, okay, I'm in good shape here. Everything is coming back. I feel in control. I'm trading what the market is giving me. The whole time I'm saying, okay, look, I don't want to revenge trade. I don't want to revenge trade. I don't want to revenge trade. I was taking what the market was giving me. And so here, when we recovered, we bounced off the VWAP. I thought this was a good opportunity to go long. And, I got long here. We couldn't get the push. We rolled over. And so my stop was going to be, a loss of VWAP. So we did lose VWAP, but this candle couldn't confirm the loss. So, I'm still in the trade. We get the big recovery, and I end up, covering my position here. Another good trade, another perfect being patient, understanding what the chart is telling me. And, I felt good about, what I did. Still, couldn't make up the big loss from the morning, but that's fine. What I wanted to do was make sure that my skill and my focus and everything that I had, was intact. Now again, I come over here. We had the breakout over, the previous resistance, intraday resistance. I waited for it to pull back, and here, you know, it looked like it pulled back and it held the 9, and I was looking for a bounce and a run up to the 200. Well, when I got in, it started looking okay, but then weakness started creeping in. And this whole candle, it would pop up, pull back, run up a little bit, pull back. Then this next candle opened, and we started to sell off. So I went ahead and stopped out because I knew that wasn't it, that this was not working. And then once we got under the 100-day, I knew with the weakness that we got and this inability to, you know, push up, that we should, you know, sell off. And that's what we did. We sold off kind of into the close. And so this was, you know, just was an automated trade. I had different points that I put in. And as I was driving down the road, this thing was just taking out my orders. But it's exactly what we were looking at. You know, and I said in chat that if we broke over this intraday resistance, that was going to be a good long. I waited for it to pull back. It just didn't get it. And I said under the 100-day would be a good short. And once we got below it, that was a good short. So I feel good about, you know, ending the day on the right foot. But the lesson here, you know, number one, you know, you can't enforce your will on the market. You can't do that. And that was a mistake I was making this morning. You know, thinking that this thing has been working all these times. This is the one time it didn't work. And, you know, I was a train wreck. I could have continued to trade and revenge trade and been down $2-3 grand. I mean, easy. It can happen in the blink of an eye. So when you get like this, when you make a mistake trading and then you compound it with another mistake, figure out what's causing it. And it's probably just you wanting something to happen because it's happened consistently so many times in the past. You're not ready to accept the one time that it's not going to work. And, you know, this is what happens. So when this happens, disconnect. You know, if you're watching the chat room, cut it off. If you are watching Twitter or Stock Twits or Instagram, well, all of that stuff, cut it off. And just you and your platform. And get to grinding. I mean, that's all it takes. You know, that's all it took for me to get focused and get back on track. VRX, this one is a real hard trader. I didn't put this on my watch list, and obviously I paid the price for this because it's a lower price stock and it's got a lower float, so it trades a little volatile. But today this thing traded pretty good. So when we got the bounce here, I was like, well, we're rejecting. Let me go. I can go ahead and get short. Let's see if we can get it through the lows here. But we just couldn't do it. It bounced, went back up, tested the 20. It rolled over. But here we're making a series of higher lows. So that was my sign to take it off. And you know, I managed this perfectly, so I felt pretty good about it. Yeah, I could have taken it off here when we claimed the 9, but you know, most of the time this thing will go back, it'll retest the 20, and then we will get the pullback. And plus we made a higher low. That could have signaled me to take it off, but you know, my plan was allowing it to test this if need be. But real pleased with that. This was just, me making sure that I understood what my strategy was, that my entry was solid, and my trade plan was solid. So just got out of sync, earlier in the day. And that's kind of what messed me up. So end of the day, minus 299.31. This SQ, this was a 250 shares left over from yesterday when we were trading earnings after the close. And this is what I left on because I was expecting the gap down this morning. We didn't get it, so I took it off. And was a good thing I didn't sit here and try to force my will on it, because once it opened, this SQ made a big strong move to the upside. So that could have destroyed me too if I didn't stick to my plan. So overall, not so good of a day results wise, but the second part of the day, once I got my head screwed on straight, everything worked out. And I'm pleased in the end. I'm ready to come in, start the new month. I hate to end the month like this, but we had an awesome month. I'll recap the end of the month probably this weekend. When I do the weekly recap, I'll probably do the monthly as well. But it was a pretty good month. January was awesome. February was awesome. Things are starting to slow down, so March may not be as great. But the focus in March is going to be on, getting everybody ready who's going to be trading with a small account. The class time that we're using in March, I'm going over all the fundamentals, everything that you're going to need to have in place so that you're not worrying about anything when the second quarter hits. April 1st or the first trading day in April, we're going to hit the ground running. I'm still looking for options other than SureTrader. That's going to be my last option. So, I've got something else that I'm going to be taking a look at to see how viable that is. But either way, we're going to start. And these classes are going to be living classes. Meaning I've got a curriculum, I've got stuff that I want to cover. But if something happens that week and I need to add it into the class and it extends the course from say 10 classes to maybe 15 over the course of the class, that's just the way it is. That's why we have live classes, so that I can adapt to what's going on in the market. If I need to change something specifically to address that, then that's what I'm going to do. But we're going to, make sure that I share everything that I feel you need to know, before we get started. Actual trading in the smaller account on April 1st. So I want to finish the first quarter. I want to get some good solid data on the first quarter and then kind of go from there. All right, so that's going to do it for me tonight. You guys have a great night, a great evening, and I will see you first thing in the morning.